Picture this. Two teenagers in the late 70s, running away twice just to get married. Sounds like the start of a cheesy romance movie, right? But what if I told you it turned into a Supreme Court case instead?
That is exactly what drew me in, Sarah. Hi, everyone. I'm attorney JFM, and I'm here to turn today's wild true story into everyday legal wisdom. By the end of this episode, you'll know how a runaway romance collided with the hard rules of law.
I am Sarah G., your cute paralegal, and today we are following Gabriel and Therese as they move from young lovebirds to courtroom adversaries. We will unpack what psychological incapacity really means, how courts sniff out fake annulments, and why happily ever after is not always a legal reality.
We will dive into expert battles, the infamous collusion trap, that tricky thing called narcissistic personality disorder, and what happens to the kids and money when everything falls apart. Buckle up. It's legal drama, Filipino style.
So, Gabriel was just 16 still in high school when he and Therese eloped. They even did it twice. And in just a few years, they had 2 kids, but their fairy tale turned sour by 1982 with constant fights and jealousy.
Those early warning signs were serious. Eventually, Gabriel moved to the U.S., got a divorce there, and remarried. But here's the twist. Foreign divorces aren't recognized for Filipinos automatically. That set the stage for a major legal battle back home.
And when Gabriel returned, he didn't just want to end the marriage. He wanted the court to declare it never legally existed at all, based on psychological incapacity under Article 36.
Exactly. The story stopped being just about broken hearts. It became a fight over whether their marriage ever had a valid legal foundation in the first place.
Here's where it gets messy. Gabriel claimed he was psychologically incapacitated, so he brought in both a psychologist and a psychiatrist. Both experts said Gabriel and Therese had personality disorders.
That could have been game over, but the Court of Appeals got suspicious. They thought Gabriel and Therese were secretly working together, like staging a confession of judgment, something courts hate.
Honestly, I can see why. Therese barely contested the annulment. She just wanted her money and child support, and she didn't even show up to testify. The judges thought it was too convenient.
I get it. But here's the legal twist. The Supreme Court said, just because both sides want out doesn't mean they're lying. Plus, the public prosecutor found no evidence of collusion. In fact, since the couple was still fighting over money, there was obvious animosity.
So, wishing for the same outcome isn't automatically a crime, but actual collusion can ruin a case. That's a subtle but crucial difference. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. To win an Article 36 case, there are 3 big hurdles: gravity, juridical antecedents, and incurability. The experts said Gabriel had narcissistic personality disorder, but what does that mean for marriage, really?
It means he had an inflated sense of self and used people to get what he wanted. At just 16, he already acted on impulse and couldn't form a supportive partnership. The court saw this as a deeply rooted incapacity, not just fleeting bad behavior.
But what about Therese? The doctors said she was incapacitated too, so why didn't the Supreme Court buy it?
Because they never actually interviewed Therese. They relied only on Gabriel and their kids' accounts. The court needs clear, convincing evidence, and for Therese, it just wasn't strong enough.
I guess calling your ex crazy doesn't cut it in court. It has to be deeply ingrained and proven, not just mean-spirited or based on fights after the wedding.
Here's the big moment the Supreme Court reversed the lower court and declared Gabriel and Therese's marriage null and void from the very start. Gabriel's incapacity was proven, so legally, the marriage never truly existed.
But the money part's wild too. Even with a void marriage, Gabriel still had to pay over $43,000 in child support, since a marital settlement abroad can still be considered in the Philippines.
Right, and the court made it clear. Forcing people to stay in a broken marriage helps no one, especially when the foundation was faulty from day one.
That really hits home. The law wants to protect families, but it also recognizes that not every relationship should be forced to continue. It's not about who's to blame, it's about legal capacity and personal readiness. Before we go, let's recap what our listeners need to remember. First, eloping as teens can bring decades of legal headaches, not just romance. Second, psychological incapacity cases need strong, professional evidence, no shortcuts. Third, wanting an annulment together isn't collusion if you're not faking facts.
And here's a big one. The law provides relief, but only when the marriage was fundamentally void. If you're stuck in a cycle of narcissism or unmet obligations from the start, don't self-diagnose or rely on gossip. Get a real legal consultation.
Absolutely don't let barangay marites give you legal advice. If any part of this story hits close to home, your best next step is to talk to a qualified professional.
Thanks for joining us, Cats Me family. Like, share, and subscribe if you found this valuable. Message us your questions so we can make law simple for everyone.
Just a reminder, this show is for general information, not legal advice. Always consult someone qualified for your specific case.
I'm attorney JFM. Here with me is our cute paralegal, Sarah G. Stay informed, stay wise, and remember, the law is your shield. Catch you on the next Case Podcast File, and stay safe out there.